Hey guys, how you doing? Well, I'm doing alright. I'm still in my little depression here. Well, since I uploaded all those videos, I received a lot of comments, which I welcome. And some of the comments have been hostile. And one comment said that, paraphrasing what he said, the gist of it was that he was offended by the fact that I used the word crystal knock to refer to the event at the Capitol. Somebody also said that I was not being as outraged of what happened at the Capitol as apparently he was. Now, it had never happened before. It's unprecedented what happened at the Capitol. I am not downplaying it. And what happened at the Capitol was outrageous. If I gave the impression that I didn't think that the siege at the Capitol was not, because that was not my intent. It was very egregious what happened at the Capitol, but it's no more or less egregious than all the violence and murder that we have seen over the past year in cities across the country, and all the livelihoods that have been destroyed. Now, also he said he was being very nasty. One of the commenters called me Mr. Psychologist or whatever. And apparently he missed that part of what I have been saying over and over and over again, which is I am a student of psychology and sociology. And I've also said that psychology and sociology play off each other because the behavior of the group can influence behavior of each individual within the group. And when you are in a group, the behavior of each individual contributing to that group can affect the behavior of the group as a whole. So psychology and sociology play off each other, and I've said that many, many times. I have never, ever said that I have finished my studies of psychology to be called Mr. Psychologist when you are a never-ending student. That means there is no end to it. You are still studying it. Now, when you are studying it, you could discover something that you learned was right or wrong. And then you adjust what you learned. My uncle had two great sayings. One, the day that you have learned everything there is to learn is the day you die. And the other thing he said was, if you go through any day and you don't learn something, even the tiniest thing, the day was wasted. So you are always learning something. And I am always learning things. My mind is an open book. I'm going with what my observation, what I studied in school about in sociology and psychology. Okay? And I'm constantly learning. And I observe behavior. That's what I've done all my life, was observe behavior. See, people like, I'm a little bit like Alan Funt when he did those people watching videos, and you just watch people and you see what they do. And you observe people. That's what I do. I observe people's behavior. And I watch. And that's why I said that I'm not trying to downplay what happened at the Capitol. Matter of fact, I'm accentuating the fact that how horrible this was. But I have also seen the behavior of we conservatives, and that it is unthinkable that as peaceful and as following the law and rule as we are, and we know the difference between a protest and a mob riot, and that when we protest peacefully. And what has been happening in all the cities throughout the country for the past year are just mob violence with no thinking involved, with no rationale involved. And it was very professional. It was very professional. And as I've said previously, I saw this report on 2020 about these militias in the woods, that they practice storming a building. They practice shooting guns. They practice breaching perimeters. So this was, this was not behavior of people who have never done anything like this before. I mean, they went full force on this. These people that broke off from the other group, you can infiltrate, and it's been done many times, any group, and you could buy the items to blend in. I mean, you honestly think they're going to stand out in that crowd? Everybody will simply stick out like a sore thumb. They're smart. They're not stupid. They will blend in. The element of surprise is always your best weapon. So that's how they were able to do it. I'm not saying, because I'm saying it like that, I'm not saying that there was nothing wrong with what they did. I'm not saying that at all. It's just my observation that the way they breached the Capitol was no different than the way they breached stores and storefronts and breaking glass. Now, another thing that this person said was he was offended that I used the word crystal knock to call what happened at the Capitol. Okay? That was crystal knock. That was breaking of glass. The night of breaking glass, which is basically what they did. They broke windows. Break glass. Okay? That was, okay, the catalyst that is starting this anti-conservative movement now that Trump is gone. So their hatred now has a new focus, which was everybody who voted for him. the 74 million of us who voted for him. So, even though Trump was still president at the time, it's still a breaking of glass. It was a horrific event. I never said it was not a horrific event. It was a horrible, egregious, horrendous event. Okay? And it was as severe as Kristallnacht. Okay? Now, with that being Kristallnacht, now Holocaust 2.0 is now on us. That was Kristallnacht 2.0. Now, Holocaust 2.0 is now on us conservatives. Now, he was upset and bothered that I used the word Kristallnacht while he's Jewish. Like, I don't know what it's all about. Okay? I am Jewish. All you guys know that I am Jewish. You have seen me pray in Hebrew. You have seen me talk about the Jewish tradition. You've heard me talk about the Jewish tradition. I am Jewish. Okay, I know what the Holocaust was. And I know what Kristallnacht was. Okay, and the parallels that I see between what happened at the Capitol and what their hatred towards 74 million Americans versus 6 million, okay, the parallels are uncanny, okay, so, so with me being Jewish and me knowing all about the Holocaust, me knowing about the 6 million, knowing about the atrocities that happened there, and their hatred of a certain group. Okay. Just because, see, Now, do I hate you because of what you did? No. I hate you because of what you are. Okay. That was the hatred of the Nazis. Okay. They hated certain groups without nothing they did but of what they were. They hated Negroes, people of color, gypsies, homosexuals, communists, and Jews. But Jews was the main focus of their hatred. And let's say, God forbid, they succeeded and they killed all the Jews. Well, then they got to focus on the gypsies and the homosexuals. And see, and there was some hatred of homosexual too. The shootout in Florida a few years ago, when he shoot up that bar, that gay bar. That was hatred of a group because of what the people were. They didn't know them personally. It was they killed as many gays as they could because of what they were. All right. I remember seeing this news report where this father wanted to bury his son who was killed in line of duty overseas, and this church came in with signs that said, God hates F blank G, you know, with a verse to go with it, okay? And they disrupted the funeral service because they hated the fact that he was gay, okay? because of what he was. Okay, so now we're going through it again. This time, it's conservatives and Trump supporters, Trump voters, 74 million Americans who voted for Trump and supported him. And for no other reason other than that. That's why they hate us. And that's why that lady hated her neighbor simply because of what she was and what she stood for. So when you hate someone not for deeds or anything they did, but what they believe in or whatever. Now, there are those who are pro-life, okay? Yet pro-life is poor choice. Now, I happen to be pro-life, but do I ever call anyone who supported abortion to be baby killers? Nope. Never. I never do that. They believed one thing and I believed another, and we have a right to believe what we believe. But I never cut them down to elevate myself up in some kind of moral indignation. Okay? I never do that. I never do that because that's not right. Everybody has their own belief. And we can agree to disagree. And there's nothing wrong with that. You could agree one way, I could agree another way. But for you to shame me, like this one person did, he said, "Shame on you, Jim." And which is what that lady in California was saying to the neighbor who plowed her driveway. Shame on you. Shame, shame, shame for following the most evil man on the planet. And until you repent your evil ways and apologize for being, saying you were wrong for following it, then we can be neighborly. Okay, shaming is never a good thing. Shaming others further divides the community. It puts a wedge in between being neighborly and for the functionality of the community. The community, it's like a house divided falls down. The United States is a house. Okay, and we are all one big family. And when you drive a wedge between members of that family because of who they voted, or what they believe in, okay, that's where the division goes. That's what the division is. Okay, when you hate your neighbor, you are dividing the country. You're splitting up the country. You're breaking it apart. So if you want this country united, if you want to stop the division, then we each have a responsibility to do our part and stop shaming others, stop hating others, okay, respecting others. Now, I disagree with this guy, a few of the guys who put comments on, and I just wanted to basically clear the air here to give my response to the comments that these people left. And so, I'm Jewish, so I have every right to use the words Kristallnacht and Holocaust, Shoah, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. I'm Jewish. Okay? I'm, my Hebrew name is Yaakov ben Yisrael. My name is Jim. The Hebrew derivative Jacob Yaakov, okay? I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish. All you guys know I'm Jewish. Okay? But I see a parallel here that I don't think anybody else sees. And it's mainly from my observation of sociological and psychological behavior of individuals and the group, which is what the two studies are. So, and they play off each other. I've said that too. And I'm a never-ending student of psychology and sociology. The two play off each other. Okay. So that's basically what I wanted to say here. And I welcome your comments. But let's be respectful. Okay? Because being disrespectful is a little bit like shouting fire in a crowded theater when there isn't any. Because you're being disrespectful for the peace and calm and serenity of the group, the community that gathered for whatever piece of entertainment they're there for. Okay. You don't create a panic. That's where they draw the line. There's always exceptions to every rule. So yes, we all have freedom of speech, but there's some things that are not protected. And shouting fire in a crowded theater where there isn't any is not one that's protected. And another thing that is taught in Jewish tradition is we never curse the deaf and we never put a stumbling block before the blind. Which means, pretty much, if you can imagine it figuratively, okay, if you know that the floor is slippery and waxed and there is no sign there, you're not legally obligated to warn people stepping off the elevator. Be careful, the floor is slippery. But you have a moral one. And that's why I told many times about sin and always shooting for that moral bullseye. And we're always trying to hit that moral bullseye. And when we miss, we call that a sin. We just grab the moral arrow, get back to the line, and shoot again. Okay, that is shooting for the moral bullseye. When I say people come up the elevator, be careful, the floor is slippery, I hit a bullseye, a moral bullseye, because I respected their right for safety. Okay, just like the neighbor did. Okay, the neighbor was also hitting that moral bullseye when she plowed her neighbor's driveway. Okay, because it was the right thing to do. I forgot to mention that in that video, but after thinking about it, it was the right thing to do. It was the moral thing to do. She was performing a mitzvah. She was hitting that moral bullseye. I am cleared your driveway because that is the good and right thing to do, because that's how you're supposed to treat others. Alright? So anyway, I just wanted to do a video to respond to some of the comments I received, so there'd be no more confusion. And So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you later. Take care. See you soon. Okay. Bye.